So, what's the flow path?
Regular air taken from the inlet to the seat of the fire.
Fantastic, yeah. So you could have an air tract from an area of low pressure, from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure, which is the base of the fire. As we know, it's called the under pressure, isn't it? And then from there, we've got the fire, which generated, or the engine of the fire, if you like, which is creating pressure. So that creates another flow path the other way. It pushes from the area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. Does that make sense? So it's two scale, isn't it? Now, if that's the same opening, if there's not an opening this way, we get our bidirectional. If there's two openings, we get our inlet and our outlet. Does that make sense? So a flow path is the route for air with a higher pressure to move to an area of lower pressure. Can be due to wind or heating. It's definitely going to be due to heating, we just discussed that. Gases expand, creating pressure when they're heated. The pressure will cause a movement towards an area of lower pressure. Wind will definitely have an effect on where a flow path goes, and it will accelerate it if it's behind it, obviously. One other thing might, well, there's two really. Two other things might define the route of a flow path. What do you think they might be? And this is very basic terms, really. What's going to define, when the gases leave this compartment, what's going to define which way they travel? Towards an opening, yeah, like we said, to an area of low pressure. But what else is going to define that?
Layout, obstacles.
Layout, obstacles, yeah? So the layout of the building will define where a flow path goes. Yeah, it's not going to go straight on through a brick wall, is it? It's going to follow the contours of the building. It still is only air at the end of the day, although that's really heated. What else? What else might we need to look at for, particularly in high-rises?
External factors.
Sorry, what's this?
Smoke vent.
Smoke vent?
Like wind, external factors.
Not wind, we've got wind already.
Extractors.
Extractors, they're all inbuilt things. What do we know about heat? Hot air?
Rises.
Rises, yeah, so buoyancy affects where a flow path is going to go as well. So you expect if you've got a flow path on the roof of a stairwell, the chances are it could travel up 2 or 3 floors before it then travels on, yeah? Because obviously it's going to go where its heat will take it, so be aware of that as well. Flow paths can be horizontal, vertical, or a combination of the both, and move in either direction depending on the situation. So we've got a little video to show you here. This is just demonstrating the dangers of a flow path. What the main hazard is with a flow path, we call it is convectional flow. Yeah, so the flow from a flow, the heat from a flow path is convectional heat, and that's really dangerous. If you think how a convectional flow oven works, it's the rate of movement that heat. So you can cook a chicken. I'm not much of a cook, but you could cook a chicken in an oven, a general normal oven, maybe 230 degrees centigrade, in about an hour and a half. Put it in a conventional, a convection oven or a fan oven, and suddenly you can cook that chicken at 175 degrees in 2/3 of the time. And that's because of the convective flow, the movement of air and heat around that chicken is transferring more heat into that area. When you are sitting in a flow path or just below a flow path, that's how the heat is affecting you. It's transferring to you at a faster rate than if it's just being radiated towards you from an oven or from a heat source. If you had a bonfire, the rate of flow towards you is a lot slower from a radiated heat of a flow path than it would be from a flow path. Yeah, that's sort of really true. Right, let's play this then. So we've got a door there, sealed, so that's demonstrating to me with the good use of the tick. Good tick use is really important in discovery of flow paths. Giving this idea there's heat in that compartment and it's quite high up, yeah? You see the yellow heated area is probably not even natural flame, yeah? So that won't even have a visible flame to it. And it's still at that temperature and affecting the firefighters in the room. The area that's red is probably some of that's natural flame, so you could say a little bit of flame impingement at the time, but then it's dissipated by the passives on the ceiling. Look at the guy's helmet. Yeah, he probably has no idea that's happening. No idea whatsoever. So thinking about what we said earlier, apart from the physiological effects, what do we know about heat? As far as how it flows from hot to cold, do you remember? So once you've got that heat in your gear inside the fire compartment is still cooler than the fire. So it's not going to radiate away again, it's going to carry on travelling towards you. So once you pick up the heat in your gear, it stays there. How do you lose heat as a person, as a firefighter or even a normal person? How do you lose heat? Sweat. So when you sweat, what happens is the water evaporates on your skin and there's a transfer of heat and you cool down. How else do we lose heat?
Respiration.
Respiration, so that's vaporisation. There's a transfer of heat in your lungs, yeah, through a respiration process that loses heat. How else? Radiation, yeah, so you radiate heat away from you, yeah, so the heat radiates away from your body and you naturally lose weight. There's one more. Last one, which is what just about the ovens earlier on.
Convection.
Convection, yeah. So convection, generally from the top of your head, you will convect heat away from your body in an upwards motion. It's quite an effective movement. That's why you've got so many capillaries on the top of your head. Yeah, so you can lose heat nicely from it. So basically, the top of your head's your elephant's ears, yeah. So when you most find things with lots of capillaries in them, very good at transferring heat. Take that normal person that you are now, put yourself in your fire gear, start to pick up heat inside the fire compartment. Can you lose heat from your evaporation from your sweating? No, you're sealed off, okay? And the contents of the compartment are hotter than you are anyway, so the natural flow of heat is not in that direction. So you can't lose heat from sweating when you're in a fire compartment. What about radiation? You can radiate heat away from your body into the fire compartment? No. That's one-way traffic and it's coming towards you, yeah? So you've lost the ability to lose heat through radiation. What about, what was the other one? Sorry? Convection. Convection. Can we lose heat through convection? Sealed in. You've got a helmet, flash hood, fire gear, nice neck chief, whatever like back in the day. BA set on, can't lose any heat through convection. What is the one way you've got to lose heat when you're in a fighting body? It's your respiration, okay? So apart from the physiological effects, that's making you a much less efficient machine for losing your heat because you're restricted to one of the four methods. But even if you take out of the effects physiologically, thinking about how we all like, or how you all want to be as the most efficient professional firefighter you can be, what else is it going to do to you?
It's going to affect your capacity to.
It's going to affect your capacity to process information. Your decision making is going to go down. And what else? We're now using vaporisation as our only means of losing heat. What's going to happen to you? You start panicking, you start breathing a lot quicker. What's that going to mean? Your contents, yeah, your duration in your set's going to go through the floor. Yeah, you're going to instead of getting 43 minutes, full duration of your set, it's 32 minutes work, 31 minutes working duration. You can talk about 10, 12, 15 minutes if you're getting really hot. Okay, so we all want to be effective in BA sets and we all like to be proficient and professional. If you don't take the means to avoid that kind of thing, then you can find all that's going to have an effect on you physiologically and also in your proficiency of being a good BA member. So it makes sense to try and avoid that as much as possible. So how are we going to avoid it?
Stay low.
Stay low, yeah? So information, basically what we're giving you here, understanding where flow paths are going to go, keeping low. What's going to help us to decide where the flow paths are going? The information, the knowledge, the tick. Yeah, the tick is a valuable, really valuable piece of equipment for you, you know, to utilise in that scenario. Understand where the heat, you'll pick up, that's a tick picture. You'll pick out where the heat travel is. So if you're coming towards a fire compartment, you can see where the flow path's going. You may be able to find a route to the compartment, avoiding the natural flow path to apply the water rather than going directly underneath it, directly through it. Would that make sense? Would that be a good thing to do, Steve? Okay, so let's have a little test of information, a little thought processes. Guys, there's no right or wrong answers to this in essence. Let's just all have a think about it and try and ascertain what information and knowledge we've got. So we've got a fire in a compartment here. This is a cut off, if you like, chopped off room. The door's open to the compartment. The window, we'll say this time, is closed. What would you expect the natural movement of gases on flow path, if you like, to be in this scenario? Towards the door, yeah? So it's going to build up pressure within that compartment and then what? Start dissipating to the next compartment to start generating pressure in that compartment. Basically, that's going to carry on throughout the premises. Wherever there's an open door, it will move towards there, build up the pressure, then push it on to the next place. Yeah, would you agree? So we're going to basically build up pressure all the way through that area, filling it full of smoke. It's pretty well ventilated, it's got quite a lot of air, so there's going to be quite a progression of the fire. as a firefighting team, you guys now come in, open that door. What's going to happen? It's going to come towards you. Yeah, you're going to create a flow path through to that door because you have now given it an area of lower pressure compared to all the pressurised areas inside the compartment for it to go. High pressure will go to low pressure. It's the only opening, so what kind of flow are we expecting to get? Bi-directional. You're going to get a nice air track going in underneath that's going to go into now feed the fire and progress the fire, and the gases and the hot gases are going to be travelling above your head. Yeah? So that's going to be the natural flow path in that area. Let's take it to another scenario now. We'll open this window. Yeah? So we've got this window open, but also this door. How are we expecting, this door is closed by the way, we're not in the building, how are we expecting the natural flow of pressures to be working? Yeah, so mainly a bi-directional. The most efficient, because it's closest to the fire, the most efficient vent will be this window here, which is going to be bi-directional. You're also going to have an inefficient bi-directional opening from the other side, would you agree? Because there's no inlet. It can't be an inlet, but we've never been into a fire having with a door open there and no smoke in the hallway outside. It's not just going to go out the window. There's going to be a little element of pressure release into that area there, but it's going to be slow and more of the efficiency is going to be out the opening that's so close to the fire. Would you agree with that? It's higher up as well. So we now open this door on a non-windy day, let's say. What are we expecting to happen? You're going to create an inlet and an outlet, yeah? So you're going to create an inlet from the area of low pressure outside, the area of higher pressure outside to the area of low pressure at the base of the fire, so you're going to get an air track going towards the base. And then what you're going to get is from this area, the higher opening, an outlet of pressure where the hot gases are, yeah? And it's going to kind of push it along now. It's going to be a bit more of an efficient flow. So what does that, understanding that, what does that tell you? What are you going to need to do? If you know that opening that door, remember we're going all about getting the right media in your hands before you start making openings. We now understand that for a couple of seconds at maximum, we might get a decrease of combustion in the fire compartment. But after that, what we're going to get, you're going to get an increased combustion in the fire compartment. Yeah? So you now understanding that by opening that door, in a short period of time, you're going to increase the combustion within that compartment. But you'll be made by the flow that you've created, and hopefully you're going to be travelling along that quite quickly and quite safely. Although you're in the flow path, it's unilateral, as we say, going in one direction, yeah, out the window through the area. So you should be able to travel through there quite swiftly. You should have a little bit of increased visibility, less heat for you to undertake because of heat's leaving that way. What's going to be the issue? Wind direction. If the wind's coming this way, guys, you're in that opening, you're going to have completely the opposite. Yeah, this door is going to try and act more or less completely as an outlet, depending on how high the wind is. And this is going to be either bi-directional or mainly an inlet. Yeah, and when you come in that door, you're going to be fighting against the flow path. You're going to be in the direct line of any sort of occurrences that might happen if you had increased rate combustion, flash over, that kind of thing. You're going to be in the area of that. So what's going to be a really good consideration if you open the door and experience that? That door should open.
Close it straight away.
Close it straight away. Check through the window. Yeah, so this is where it's expanding on your ideas of how to tackle a fire. Opening that door up and you find out initially, straight away, by how the gas is fed, that you've now got direct contact with the fire compartment and you've got the wind against you. You want to be shutting that door and considering attacking it from another way. Yeah, finding a different route of access to the fire. Do you all agree with that? Good. Can you all see? Right, guys, so, sparing no expense, this is our Hagen house. We have demonstrating flow paths. Yeah, so the concept and the ideas of how flow paths work and move. What we're going to show you is water vapour, disco smoke basically, at this time is not considered to be detrimental to your health. So all I'm going to say. There's lots of things 30 years ago weren't detrimental to your health, but as far as we're aware, it's water vapour and it's not hazardous. However, if you find that you want to move away from it a little bit, it does get quite smoky. You did used to set that off, I quite understand. So, the fact that it's water vapour, I'm going to be able to demonstrate quite a lot of things about how a flow path might move. I can generate some pressure by pumping the pressure up inside the compartment. What do you think I'm not going to be able to show you? Yeah, the rise in the heat. I can't demonstrate buoyancy. So the things I show you, I can even create partly a bidirectional flow. What do you think it's going to show? How's that going to work? When I show you my bidirectional flow path, a bit like when you have an overpressure and an underpressure and a neutral plane inside the fire compartment, what do you think?
You just want to see a bit coming up.
It's going to be inverted, it's going to be upside down, okay? So if you can imagine it being the other way up, because obviously the wall vapour will be heavier than there as opposed to the hot fire gases being higher. So I can still demonstrate the movement, I can still demonstrate how it will look, but it'll be upside down in some scenarios. So the ones I'm going to show you, fire.
Someone over here.
There was another one of those.
Yeah, there is. Why you camera.
Cheers if you were there. Well, I'm sorry. Okay, so fire in a compartment. Okay, I'm going to build up some smoke in there to create some pressure. So what we're going to demonstrate at the moment, hopefully, similar to if you remember the Forest Gate incident where the guy put his jet straight in the open window, some kind of educated assessments we can make of a scenario when we turn up or assuming we turn up. Give me a moment, so it's going to take a while. Is everyone done? Thank you. Be patient. If you wait outside the instant for this long, you're doing something wrong, okay? You should have been in there by now. Well, okay, so even with the limited smoke I've got, I'm going to go with it, because obviously needs a bit more heat now. So this is going to be, let's consider this to be a bungalow or ground floor masonry, something along those lines. Is our front door closed at the moment? There might be someone just left the building, shut the door behind them, there might be someone out. Okay, so what we're going to do, so we're open the front door, we're going to kind of see if that affects. Similar to the Forest Gate incident. So what's that demonstrating? Yeah, so you have no direct access to the fire compartment, yeah, because the smoke is quite lazy, it's moving quite a slow fashion, it's not under any pressure. So it tends to be a bit listless and doesn't understand where it's going. Will quite often be lighter in colour, because obviously as it slows down, further away from the fire compartment it comes, a lot of the stuff that's heavier that it's carrying starts to get deposited. And we've all seen that when we've got into premises along the hallway, loads of carbon, loads of rubbish on the floor and lower down in and around the areas, yeah? So that's the kind of thing you're going to see. So, get a bit more pressure now. What we're going to expect to see, we come along here nicely, we're going to sit here and do our door opening procedure. What are we expecting to see when we open that compartment? Compartment door. Yeah, so we're going to expect to be pressure release out the top of the door, except it's likely to be out the bottom of the door in this scenario. And what direction is it going to flow in?
Towards the open door.
Yeah, towards the open door, and it's likely to be what kind of... Sorry? Yeah, this will be darker, under pressure, under more velocity because of the heat. It's going to be in quite a rush to get to where the opening is because that's an area of low pressure. And what kind of flow path are we going to be demonstrating in this scenario? Bi-directional, fantastic, guys, well done. So we'll blow that up, and to a degree, you should be able to see that, except to say it'll be upside down. Yeah, so instantly, once you open it up, you get more pressure relief from the compartment. You see it's quite small because it's the main opening, but there is a bi-directional flow there. What you'll also demonstrate here, if you look through the top, which I want to point out a bit earlier, you'll see areas where smoke tends to gather and sit and stay, and areas where obviously there's a natural flow path. That's going to be important for later when we're talking about wind-driven fires, for seeking out refuges. So areas where smoke tends to sit is areas that are not within the flow path, so there'll be areas of safe refuge should you find yourself inside a flow path you need to get out of the way of. Does that make sense? So you've got an area there, and area there at the top of the opening. I'm just going to show that. Someone's broken the door. I'll pick it up on smoke again. So this time what we'll demonstrate is we're going to have the same compartment, sealed off in the same way, but with ventilation available. So when I open this ventilation point, let's say it's self-ventilated, again, what we're going to expect to see. Bi-directional opening, most pressurised from the nearest opening to the fire compartment. You're still going to get some movement of gases this way because there is a lot of pressure inside that compartment. But obviously the majority of it is going to want to leave by that opening. I'll shut that for a minute just so I can keep creating some pressure. So we're going to make entrance into our fire compartment. Again, due to the laziness of the smoke, the laminar flow, as we kind of call it, is just sitting about. We can make the educated assessment that we have segregation and we're not joined to the fire compartment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so same thing, we'll come up and do our door procedure. I'll note that just beforehand so we get obviously the natural flow. So what we're going to do is open our door. Open our door, but this is open. What we can expect to happen at this point? Inlet, outlet. Can you see that has actually happened slightly? Yeah? You can see the air coming in there and leaving, and even with cold gases, it's still happening. With hot gases, obviously that's going to be more protracted, yeah? So you can see it's clear in this area, and it's tending to just a natural flow of pressure. I only created pressure with cold gases, so pressure with hot gases is going to be more dramatic than that. You can see that's demonstrated quite nicely an inlet and an outlet in a normal kind of flow path. Yeah? So happy with that one? Yeah. What we'll do with the last one? Just going to need to build that up a little bit more. So this is where we're talking about we'll take this from being a bungalow or a ground floor masonette up about 6 floors, let's say 6 or 7 floors now, okay? So dealing on what we would consider to be a high rise, yeah? So around about 6 floors is high rise, it needs a dry riser at 6 floors, doesn't it? So in the high rise incident, we've got a wind of, let's say on the ground floor, of approximately 10 miles an hour. Would there be consideration that you'd have a higher wind higher up? Yeah, most definitely. On the PPV course I went on recently and got qualified in, they portrayed that anything above a 12 mile an hour wind, 30 mile an hour would be considered to be a wind driven fire. Okay, every 3 floors you go up, a little bit like it does in blast pressure, every 3 floors you go up will be a 1 mile an hour increase in wind speed. Okay, so at 3 floors you can have an 11 mile an hour wind. At 6 floors, 12 mile an hour wind considered to be a wind driven fire. That's enough to make a significant change to the natural flow path for it to be considered wind driven. Anything more than that, obviously, and the situation becomes worse. So now we've got this scenario, a wind-driven fire possibly. I'm going to leave that closed for the time being. So you make a normal entrance. This could be in from a communal hallway possibly, yeah, like you quite often get in the set flats or whatever, to the main door. At this point we are going to do our door entry procedure. This is the point where, as I say, once we're talking about where you might be coming into play with high-rise and wind-driven fires, where you need to be making your careful assessments of where your points of refuge might be. Okay, where am I going to go if this goes a little bit wrong? Yeah. So straight away, your initial thought is this area here. If it comes straight back towards me when I open this door, this area is my best point of refuge. Better than that is to shut the door, maintain control of the door and shut it. But if not, if there's a need point of refuge in the flow path, it's going to flow in that area there, is going to be your best point. So we're going to come up, we're going to open that window, open that door, sorry, into that area, and exactly like we had before, we've now created a bi-directional flow. Okay, this is not a fan, this is just demonstrating wind. We did not really had to get that into the delivery, but we had to make that point very careful. So unfortunately you may now make that point. We've created this bi-directional flow, we've increased the oxygenation into the fire compartment, increased combustion, which has increased the pressure, which unfortunately for ourselves in this area of high wind, caused the window to fail, we've got high wind. Yeah. You see there, what it instantly does is turn the inlet into the bi-directional flow into a full outlet. Guys, that will be floor to ceiling flow path. Okay, speeds of up to 20 miles an hour and above. So very few firefighters on a field good luck back in the day could run more than 20 miles an hour. So your opportunity to outrun that is gone. Applying water directly into a flow path or into a convectional flow, coming that kind of speed is instantly turn to steam and turn back on yourself. You're not going to be able to apply water into the flow path or into the pressure and get any significant benefit from that. It's only going to result in an injury. Your best opportunity for a safe outcome or a better outcome, if you like, is to seek one of these areas of refuge, like we said. Okay, we'll utilise one of these, or even better still, get the door shut. So even better than getting the door shut, what do you think would be a better outcome? The obvious thing.
Bend the outside.
No, not bend the outside. So we've got the door. If opening the door and then having the wind-driven fire come towards you, and then shutting the door, what would be a better outcome? Recognise, don't open the door in the first place. Yeah, recognise the signs and symptoms of the fire and what the opportunities for you to have a high rise. Come up with a different plan. Certainly, if it's already ventilated, because you can expect anything that's ventilated at that height to be at least have some wind behind it, because it's naturally going to have more wind. So recognising the signs and symptoms, guys, of a wind-driven fire, really quite important. You want to grab your seats? Is that all right? Yeah. It's pretty basic, but I think it demonstrates quite well what it's supposed to demonstrate, if you like.
Oh, you know why some brigades
Yeah, I'm trying not to. I might ask that question later. No, but what I'm trying to say is we're trying not to expand too much on PPV at the moment. What we're delivering at the moment is a tactical ventilation course that is a forerunner to PPV. That is a method of pressure ventilation other brigades do utilise. If I was to expand on it, I'd like to promote more questions, if you know what I mean. And I will be asking you the answers, but then London may never go to that stage, so it would be irrelevant information, really. Right, so wind-driven fire, obviously not a very good thing. So recognising signs and symptoms of a door or a compartment that might have a ventilated window you haven't spotted from the outside, for instance, or at the end of a flow path, the open window might be 2 compartments away, so you might not recognise that you're at the end of the flow path where the pressure's built up. What would you expect to see?
Coming around the edges of the door.
Yeah, so readings from your tick. You're going to need your tick, guys, yeah? Instead of the normal readings, remember our other video where we had that nice realm of yellow there? You can expect red and yellow all the way round the door, yeah? Particularly high readings on on the handle, particularly if they're metal. Yeah, that transmits the heat through really quickly. So high readings lower down on handles, expect to see them really hot. Last visual and sort of audible warning you might get, particularly if I fitted the door. A rattling, yeah, the wind battering the back of the door. All signs and symptoms. I would say in that scenario, I wouldn't advocate opening the door. Okay, find another means of applying water onto the fire before you undertake that externally, floor below branch. Yeah. Just to put into context, Adam, who you met earlier, and I went on the PPV course recently. We've done a wind driven fire exercise up there. They gave us a 13-mile-an-hour wind, I believe, which was like pretty low scale as far as wind driven goes. Demonstrate the flow path going downwards with wind behind it, and then open the door up and encourage Adam to try and shut it. It was very difficult, it got really hot, obviously quite red, and where he was touching the door, extremely hot. It was very hard to shut. The pressure you wouldn't believe. It was really, it sounded like a turbo engine coming through the door, the sound. And where I was, I never had a go shutting it, especially to me that it was really difficult. I was tucked behind here and I was sat against the wall. I had to move and get myself hunched inside this part of the door. I was actually getting burned across the back of my neck through the slot where the hinges were. So it is really, the heat is quite intense, guys, so I can't underplay that enough. But really, safe scene assessment is the best way forward in that kind of scenario. Right, any questions on that, guys?
So without the use of the lower floor branch, we're going to have to enter the compartment at some point.
At some point, you're going to have to try and enter the compartment. So, what examples we get? We've got the new Dagenham again one, definitely, I think. How high can we go if you expect? 64 metres, there you go. Yes, it's not a little bit harder than we used to. I'm glad I'm retired. I used to be an aerial operator, I'm not sure I fancy 64 metres. Yeah, so it's options like that, and obviously applications of, I think it was called now, the ground one that we suggested earlier. You'd have to come in, it's really got to be an idea of some means of external application in that scenario. You're not going to get through the wind driven. You know, the scenario beyond that is obviously containing it in that area, making sure the surrounding area is cool, because you're not going to get in forwards. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be a safe environment to tackle it. You have to get water externally on it somehow. Unfortunately, I haven't got all the answers for you guys, if you know what I mean. It's I'll do that. It's one of those scenarios that you know, every scenario, as you well know, your experience firefighters is going to be different.